thank you so much for tuning in and clicking on this video. It's the latest on trend with your girl, BeAmi.
Hi all, welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are new to my channel, my name is BeAmi and I talk about all things trending. I'm going to be doing a reaction to this particular post. This is going to be a text reaction. Usually I do video ones, but this, I came across this and I was just like, oh, here we go again. This is going to be baby mama drama, baby daddy drama. It's all the drama all up in the air. What do you think? Right, let's go ahead and read it. This was a conversation between the baby mother and the baby father. Okay, this text says, afternoon Mr. Stranger, just a heads up, me and let's call him Andrew, we decided to hyphen surnames together to make it one Johnson McLean. So and so is now saying she would this to be her surname too. I guess she would want this to be her surname too, which we thought was sweet. We don't hear much from you, so I don't think this changes much for you, but just so you know. So basically what baby mom is saying is that she's getting married, she's gonna change the baby's surname to the new surname, and actually baby wants this too, and as the father is really barely involved, then hey, it doesn't really matter, I'm just giving you a heads up. Okay, baby daddy answers and he says, yes, long time. We both know why it's been this long. While I'm alive, no one is changing my child's name. Not sure what you lot are smoking down there to think you can message me this. It's just more of your games you playing again. She says, trust me, getting married is no game considering you didn't want to sign the certificate when she was born anyway. She wants to feel part of our union. You barely see her unless it's her birthday, Christmas or sports day. There's still about 360 more days in a year to make an effort. She can't be that important to you. Be grateful her stepdad takes her on more than you do. It's just a name. It's her choice. I'm not asking for permission. I'm letting you know. Whew. She's ready for the smoke. He says, don't play dumb. You know why my name is not on the birth certificate. When we had to do a DNA test because you were running around on these streets, you are right, you don't need my permission, but I'm telling you, it's not happening. Can I just go back a little bit? Then he says, not sure what you lot are smoking down here to think you can message me. It's more games than you're playing. We both know. While I'm alive, he says, sorry, this is a bit, I'm going to go back. He says, while I'm alive, no one is changing my child's name. Sorry, I don't mean to play dumb. If his name is on a birth certificate, then what's being changed? Whose name is on a birth certificate? Maybe no one. So if his name is on a birth certificate, then what is being changed? Just ask him. The first thing that I notice is the tone in which she first of all addressed, you know, it was almost like, hey Mr. Stranger, you know, if you clearly they haven't spoken to in a while, and I think she tried to come in very mellow, very friendly, you know, try to be a bit jokey, like, oh hey Mr. Stranger. I don't think she should have sent a text. Okay, like I think from the offset she should, this is not something that you send by text. However, maybe there are reasons as to why she felt like she had to just text it to him rather than call him. Maybe they're just at the stage where they're just not able to communicate, where maybe she just doesn't want to talk to him, whatever it is. And yeah, it's going to be easier for us to be like, yeah, but this is a big thing, this is not something that you send someone a text. This is where now a level of maturity comes in and you have to discuss with that person, which I completely get and agree to an extent. I do think that if you are at a stage where you just cannot communicate, the fact that she's communicating is what matters, rather than just condemning the method to which she's chosen to communicate. So if she hadn't told him at all, then I think it would be more problematic and a bit like, I think he's got the right to know. And you could tell that there is like friction here, because she says, hey Mr. Stranger, and he goes in straight away. And it could be obviously because he's read the message. He's like, nah, I'm not even trying to play hey Mr. Stranger type of thing, because he goes in like, we both know why it's been this long. While I'm alive, no one is changing my child's name. Not sure what you lot are smoking. It's kind of like they go into the battlefield straight away. Like they're both brought out their daggers, and he's like, I'm coming for you, she's coming. Do you know what I mean? It's like straight away they went into that battlefield. And this is something that is still raw. This is something that they still get triggered very, very quickly by. And so this wasn't never gonna end up pleasant. And I think that gives me a little bit of insight as to why maybe she chose that method of communication. And no, I am not condoning and nor am I even taking any sides. I think they're both kind of being petty. Like, I don't really understand what is going on here, because he says that his name is not even on the birth certificate, but then he says no one is changing my child's name. Like if your name is not there, then what does it even matter? Why have you not been involved? So there has to be context to this, and of course a backstory. But whilst we only have this text to go with, then I can only talk from what I am reading. She's saying things like, you didn't want to sign the certificate when she was born. You barely see her. She's counting down the days. It's almost like she's pulling that card, isn't it? She's saying, you are a deadbeat. So you still got 360 days to see your child, to make the effort, but I bet you're not even going to be able to manage that. If you can't even manage like 30 minutes, then, you know, she's pulled out that red card, isn't it? And that triggered him. She's been triggered by something, and he's now triggered. And she starts using words like, be grateful, you ingrate. You know, be grateful. It's like a reverse insult. It's like, be grateful that someone's actually doing your job and actually looking after your child that you're not capable of doing. So it's almost like those in between the line context and thoughts are really being projected in what she's saying around what she really feels. I can definitely see from this context that there's a lot of hurt, there's a lot of disappointment. It's interesting, like she says, it's just a name. Is it just a name? Is it really that important for the father to, or for the kids to carry the father's name? Or has it become just that, like it's just a name, it means nothing? You could argue so, because he could be fighting for the kids to carry his name, but really, what's the legacy? You don't see them, like you don't do anything, you don't have a relationship with them, so they're literally just carrying your name for no reason. Meanwhile, they can carry someone's name that actually would mean much, you know, it would actually mean something. But then at the same time, it's kind of like her name would change anyway. Like her name would eventually change anyway. And I guess my thought is that, is it an ego thing? Like the fact that he doesn't want to let it go, is that just ego kicking in? Because when you look at the context, maybe I've read it wrong, by the way. Your name is not on the birth certificate, sir, but you're still fighting. To me, that's like ego, because you're fighting for something that's technically not even there, just to prove a point. Perhaps maybe the problem was that he didn't feel like he could be the man and lead as he is born to do. You know how men are. He says, when we had to do DNA test because you were running around on these streets. Now, if she's obviously moved on, I don't know if he's moved on, but she's moved on, they're separated. Why do you have to bring up the past? Why do you have to bring up things that does not matter anymore? It doesn't concern you. You had a DNA test, but is it your child? Clearly it is. So why do you now have to bring it up? So perhaps was there cheating involved? So this really suggests that there's still a lot of hurt. There's still like a lot of bitterness, anger. There's still like grudges. Like there's still so much. Like simple communication has now turned into something like, now I'm putting up all of your past and look at yourself, like look at how low you are, you did this, you did this, you did this, you did that, even though they've both moved on. But it's almost like you know, when you are like, they've both moved on, but yet there's still so much in the past. Like, it's so crazy. It's almost like they're split into two different people. It's like a part of them, half of them have moved on, but the other half is still locked in the past. And it's very dangerous to be in that situation and move on, because the person that you're currently with never really gets the fullness of who you are and that full capacity of how much you can love them. It's very, very limited. You give them limited access, limited love, and everything is controlled. It's in a controlled environment. And what do I mean by that? Everything is on my terms and my conditions. I give you the percentage of what I want to give to you. Why? Because part of me is still in the past, and it's not even that that's actually what I want to do, but subconsciously that's what I am offering. You cannot offer something that you do not have in its whole totality. You don't own that part of you. The past owns that part of you. You're still enslaved to the past, to your pain, to the hurt, to the anger, to everything that you went through. And so it's a very dangerous place to be. But I tend to find that men try and master this this cycle of just this recycling cycle. Like, let me just move on, let me just jump, let me just go into something new. And here you can see as clear as day what happens when you try and move on, or you move on but you're still trapped in the past. And especially when you have a child or kids with that person and you just don't get on, and you know, you will get to a point where you will have to stop and you have to be like, okay, you know what, this needs to be addressed, because this is going to affect the child. And at the end of the day, it's easier said than done, but it's about putting our feelings aside and saying, you know what, for the sake of the child, because what do I want to teach them? You know, what do you want to teach them? What lessons do you want them to have? How do you want them to see life, value life? You know, how do you want them to navigate in life? And part of this is part of creating that environment, and it starts from home. You know, it starts from home. This is where we lose our kids. Like, this is where we have a lot of broken people. So yeah, so this was quite sad, actually, quite interesting, and at the same time, like, it was quite sad to read and go through, because a lot of people go through this, you know, and it's quite common. How do we like navigate that? I don't know if anyone has sort of experienced that, going through a separation, whether it's divorce, whether it's relationship. How do you navigate around that? How do you include your kids, you know, and how do you move on? Do you feel like you fully move on? Like, I know a lot of people that have gone through separation and kind of felt like, I've never been able to love the way that I loved that person. It's almost like when that relationship died, a part of you also died. They say that when you go through heartbreak, it's like you're mourning the loss of somebody. Sometimes you die in that breakup, in that separation, in that breakdown, and a part of you is literally gone, and you can't ever love the way you loved. You don't know even whether you would ever. And I think there's nothing wrong with stepping back. It starts with, do you want to love like that again? What does love look like for you? What does it mean? And yes, guard your heart with all diligence, but at the same time, it doesn't mean build walls and walls and walls that nobody, like, barricade yourself and don't allow anybody in. Guarding yourself means apply wisdom. Guarding yourself also means, like, understand yourself, learn about yourself, value yourself. You guard something that you value. You don't guard something that means nothing to you. If you know what's valuable in you, then you will know what you're guarding and how to guard it. Like, so it's really important to do that self work. But yeah, like, I didn't expect this video to be like this long, but I thought this was quite an interesting one to do. When we have conversations like this, it shouldn't be a blame game. It shouldn't be, oh, but the man, da 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 da, like, you know, or but the woman, da 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 da, like, look how, like, no, this is two hurt people. This is two hurt people who once upon a time loved each other and are very, very disappointed and hurt. They are hurt. Why? Because they had an expectation that came to an end. And with that expectation, they invested. They didn't get their return. It didn't plan out the way that they wanted to. They obviously had a child. They obviously were in a relationship and it didn't work out. And sometimes when it doesn't work out, it's a lot of, why did you do this to me? Because I loved you. I cared about you. I wanted this. And when people hurt, they hurt others. And when people are hurt, it's very one-sided. It's very much, it's you. You're the reason. You did this. You should know better. You are so this. You. And it's all you. And it's very, I feel like it takes a level of humility. Not even maturity. Humility. To take accountability and say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to look at what I did that hurt you. Oh, most of the time is you did this, you did that, you did that. But it takes two to break something down. Like it takes two to make something. It takes two to break it down. Yes, some people will have a lot more involvement because some people are more reactive. It's about, how do I react from your hurt? Some people are extra. Some people will do the most. But at the same time, they reacted to something that they felt was a threat. Okay? At that point, they felt like they were no longer being loved. They were no longer being respected. You became a threat to either their identity. You became a threat to their manhood, to their womanhood. You gave less. They were lacking. They kind of felt like they were not receiving to the capacity that they were giving. So they felt like they had to defend themselves because nobody was defending them. They felt like they had to do something to gain what they needed, what they desired, what they wanted. They were not feeling fulfilled. They reacted to something. So it's never just out of the blue. Nobody just wakes up out of the blue. We are made for compassion. We desire compassion. We want compassion. And so when we feel like we are lacking in it, it's almost like anyone who lacks iron, your body reacts. If you're deficient in something, you're going to start looking for things. If you starve yourself, you're going to start eating yourself like from the inside. Right? So it's like you can start attacking yourself. So there's a lot of things that can happen and it's a reaction to something. So sometimes what people fail to do most of the time is they fail to identify and self-analyze, why did that person react to me? What experience did I give them that was not pleasant, that is not something that they want, that they desired, that put them off? What we do, you did this, you put me off because you. And so, you know, this is when we need a mediator. Okay, this is when we need counseling, child. But no, on a serious note, like I feel like, I wish that we was in a world where everybody could just love each other, talk. So yeah, like this is just like my thoughts on that. But let me know yours. And yeah, this was quite a deep one. But thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you like, comment, share, subscribe. I really would appreciate it, guys. And I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers and I cannot do it without your support. 10,000, that's not the cap. I'm really trying to grow my channel and I cannot do it without your support. So I would really appreciate it if you could just click that red button. It's free of charge and it would really help support Biami. I'm a social commentator. I love to talk, discuss, share my opinion. So if you really enjoyed this video, you must have, because you made it to the end of the video, then please do hit the subscribe button if you have not already. Bye.